Just before trying to commit suicide, Ove took a glance at the photo of his wife. It suddenly struck him that his wife might be scared if she saw him hanging, so he quickly picked it up and placed it on the windowsill, facing the sunlight. He stared at the rope above his head. Finally, he could meet Sonia. Just then, he noticed the two kids from the neighbor's house were looking at him. Worried about scaring them, he gave up. The next day, Ove went to the cemetery as usual. He apologized to Sonia for not coming to see her as promised yesterday. Without Sonia, everything seemed like a mess to him. Every day, Ove would bring a bunch of flowers and kept saying to her, "I miss you," without getting tired. When he got home, Ove was about to attempt suicide again, but then the doorbell rang. Ove was really ticked off. However, when he opened the door, he found it was the newly moved in kids. He had to hold back his temper to show their gratitude. The neighbor also brought freshly made food and wanted to borrow a ladder. Ove thought he wouldn't need the ladder anymore, so he just gave it to them. At this time, an old lady asked him to help fix the heater and started talking about Sonia to the neighbor. As a result, he got angry right away, but as soon as he got home and saw the photo of his wife, he couldn't help smiling. Death, for Ove, was as beautiful as going on a date with Sonia. He kicked over the stool, and finally, he thought he'd made it, but at this critical moment, the rope suddenly broke. He stormed to the supermarket, furious, demanding a refund. They had promised that it could hold anything. Unexpectedly, the clerk took a look at the marks on his neck and asked about the reason. Ove had to turn around and leave. He still couldn't help taking another look at Sonia. He spread the newspaper on the ground and pretended to lie beside her. He knocked on the door of the old lady next door, retrieved the hose he had lent her, and by the way, fixed the heater for her. Her husband, a paralyzed old man named Rooney, was one of Ove's few friends and also his rival for half a lifetime. Before leaving, Ove told him that he was going to find Sonia, but when he was about to go out, Rooney grabbed Ove's hose and wouldn't let him out. Ove gave a hard yank, carried the hose into the garage, and inserted it into the exhaust. He closed the car door and calmly waited for death. Suddenly, there came a knock on the car door. He angrily opened the door. It was that neighbor again. Her husband was injured, and she wasn't good at driving. She wanted Ove to take them to the hospital and look after the two kids as well. Although he complained harshly, kind-hearted Ove still agreed. When they got to the hospital, the two kids pestered Ove to tell them a story, but before that, they had a small request. Ove could only start imitating a bear's voice in an exaggerated way. It was clear that they liked Ove's story. When they got home, they even gave him a hug, but Ove pushed them away. He was afraid that his heart would waver. The neighbor came over and showed him the paintings of her daughters. The little figures in the paintings were all black and white, except for Ove, who was in color. It seemed that they really liked Ove. The neighbor's kids would secretly peek at him. Ove always couldn't help wanting to amuse them. Early the next morning, while taking a walk, he heard from the fat guy that the man in the white shirt was colluding with the nursing home. In order to defraud subsidies, they wanted to force Rooney to be sent to the nursing home. Although they had been fighting for half a lifetime, he couldn't watch his old friend being bullied, so he went to ask Sonia's opinion again.
Får inte vara arg på mig, Sonja. Det är svårt att erkänna att man har haft fel. Särskilt när man har haft fel under en längre tid. Förlåt, nu ska det ställas till rätta. Jag vet ju hur du brukar jaga upp det när jag bråkar. Men den här gången tror jag du håller med mig.
Ove stayed up all night, making a lot of complaint calls, but no one seemed to care. The neighbor came and started to persuade him again, saying that no one could bear everything alone, including the blow of his wife's death. He said a lot, and this time Ove wasn't as annoyed as before. He even took the initiative to talk about Sonia. The next day, the man in the white shirt came again, just when he was looking all proud. The female reporter showed up and said she had all the evidence of his subsidy fraud. She would be happy to make it the front page headline. Although the man in the white shirt was not convinced, he could only turn around, get into the car, and drive away. This time, Ove seemed to have put down the heavy burden. Not having children was a lifelong regret for Ove and Sonia. But now, all the kids in the community called him Grandpa. One day, it snowed heavily outside. The neighbors suddenly found that Ove didn't get up early for his patrol as usual, so he rushed out. When they entered the house, Ove was lying on the bed, very calm. He finally went to meet his wife, but not by suicide. He died of a heart attack.
Ska inte vara orolig för att jag har gjort något dumt. När du läser det här så har läkarens diagnos inträffat. Så att jag hade ett för stort hjärta. Men även om det låter bra och fint så är det inte så bra. Förr eller senare får man betala för det.
relax. Be a man and go.
Jag önskar att begravningen blir i en kyrka som det ska vara. Inte något tjafs med aska som sprids för vinden eller något annat dumt påhitt. Jag vill att det sker i stillhet med bara de närmsta, de som tycker att jag har gjort rätt för mig. Katten äter tonfisk 2 gånger om dagen och vill inte skita hos andra. Respektera det. Och låt för fan ingen jävel köra bil in i området.